By now, Viktor Bout's business dealings had made him one of the world's most notorious weapons suppliers. But Bout was about to acquire another client, one that would place him firmly in the crosshairs of the West's intelligence agencies. In Afghanistan, the bloody conflict between the Mujahideen and the Soviet Union of the 1980s had descended into a brutal civil war. Viktor Bout had already provided the Afghan government with arms and was on the brink of a new deal for the supply of 3 million rounds of AK-47 ammunition. But a little-known Islamic group had risen to prominence in the region. They were called the Taliban, and they wanted Bout's attention.
The Taliban forced Viktor Bout's aircraft to land on this little dirt airstrip in the middle of nowhere, took the crew hostage, and took 3 million rounds of ammunition for themselves.
Bout flew to Afghanistan in person to convince the Taliban to release his crew. He was granted a rare audience with Taliban leader Mullah Omar. The story goes, Omar had a price for freeing Bout's crew. He wanted weapons for his war against the Afghan government. It was the start of a lucrative partnership. In the first few months of 1995, the Taliban took control of much of the southern and western regions of Afghanistan, likely using weapons supplied by Bout. At the time, it went almost unnoticed. But in 2005, the US Treasury would reveal that Bout had made around $50 million from his deals with the Taliban.
Radical Islam is not really on anybody's radar screen. It was viewed, I think, generally as just massive chaos out there.
Then, everything changed. US President George W. Bush named Osama bin Laden leader of Al-Qaida, public enemy number one. On September the 20th, 2001, the US launched its war on terror. Within a month of the terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers, the United States invaded Afghanistan. And it wasn't just the Taliban the US was hunting. They also vowed to bring those responsible for arming radical Islamic groups to justice. On February the 18th, 2002, a red notice was issued for Bout, a global arrest warrant for weapons trafficking and money laundering. But by now, Viktor Bout had retreated to Russia. Former intelligence officer Vladimir Putin was president, and Putin prided himself on his loyalty to former intelligence comrades. He offered Bout safe haven. From the safety of Moscow, Bout surprised everyone by embarking on a PR offensive to clear his name. Later, investigators would reveal that Bout had made an estimated $60 million from the Pentagon, on top of the $50 million he'd made from arming the Taliban. The US government's embarrassment made them all the more determined to bring the merchant of death to justice.